do it. In the Middle Ages, painting was the only way to capture a visual and preserve and show emotion. Now, a picture can do this, but can using touch-up techniques make images less emotional and hide the truth. Stay with us tonight for an untouched edition of Dolor Factor Live.
Program are those of the host and guests and do not represent those of DBS and are not intended to determine decision-making processes. Dolor Factor Live is produced by Dolor Media Relations and sponsored by Ladera, Rainforest Hideaway, Inside Out.
Welcome to Dolor Factor Live. I'm Delia Dolor. Is it a photo or a picture? Is the correct term an artist or a painter? Which words do you use? Our guest tonight will make it clear. Tonight we're asking you to think about how we capture our lives in images on a professional level and to enhance our memories. Our guest tonight, I know, will give you a perspective that will cause discussion after we say goodnight tonight. I'd like to welcome Sabrina Romulus and Kirk Elliott to the DFL set. First time for both of you, right? On the set.
It is for me, yes.
But not the first time that I have the pleasure of meeting both of you.
And it's a pleasure to be with you again this evening.
I'm so looking forward to tonight because I have a love for creativity. And I always think that sometimes people just don't appreciate when someone is creative. And also they don't understand that creativity has to pay the bills for a lot of people. And they just think, because you're so creative, why don't you just do it for free? You know? And I want to get some of that across, but I also want to understand what life is like being so creative in St. Lucia. And I know you've both had international exposure, so it'd be really nice to talk about the differences, if they are. All right? But Sabrina, I was trying to think, when we first met, it was a very long time ago.
Yes.
And I was so impressed by your work. And there are certain things in life, I always say that you're meant to meet somebody or something's supposed to happen. And when I saw her work, I knew I had to get something of her work. And I'm not just talking because Sabrina knows. Over time, I've managed to purchase some of her.
And display the work on your program.
Yes, I have done that. It has been on the set because, I mean, I love your work. And when I think that where I met you, you were the St. Lucia's youngest photographer who was having a lot of success.
Yeah, well, artist.
Artist, you see? You see? Now that's why you need to correct me and everybody else, because there are differences and there are words that we use, you know. And Kurt, I don't know, the same thing with you. I mean, we met quite... I think it was what we met. I think it could have been the launch of the Media Association of St. Lucia. We'd seen each other before.
Right, yes, yeah.
We had seen each other, but we didn't really kind of click and say hello and so on and so forth, you know?
Until very recently when we had that rather interesting program.
Yes, right. Yes. And of course, Kirk is talking about our radio show that I do on RSL 97, Tell It Like It Is, which is on Mondays at 2 p.m. And I was just blown away by the things that Kirk was saying, because sometimes you see someone and you just make assumptions. You just say, oh, they're this or that.
Like me, a lot of people, you know, don't even believe what I do, you know. They'll be like, you're the one doing that, and I get a lot of good comments, I guess.
Yeah, but you're very humble, and I find that a lot of us in this this kind of arena where we are fronting a lot of things and our names or faces are around the place, we're quite humble people, and I think that's one of the St. Lucian type of aspects, because when you go out of St. Lucia, you have people boasting, I'm this and I'm that. Yes, we have some arrogant people in St. Lucia, yes.
Yeah, but you must bring out the confidence a little bit too, you know.
Yes.
Or else they might think you're nothing more, because they make it look like you're doing this and it's so easy. You know, like maybe they take it a little for granted, but it's actually our years of experience and, you know, years and years of building up that kind of shows through with what we do today.
And I want to talk about that later, but for now I'd like to ask you, when you were asked to come on the show, what were you thinking? What did you want to get out of this? What do you want the viewers to get out of this ultimately?
I thought, yay!
And I was quite excited as well. And I think that I really would like to get the public to have a better understanding of photography, photographers, some of the challenges that we face, some of the possibilities. I think that there are amazing possibilities ahead of us at this point in time if we can just focus in, harness the energy of it, and really step up to where life is going in terms of photography and the potential.
And what about you, Sabrina? Anything that you'd like to ultimately tonight to...
Well, just as you say, I think everything happens for a reason, and throughout my career, I would easily say that everything kind of lines up. I mean, I left school. I did, in fact, well, on the job training, I did video ventures. So I got a little touch of, you know, photography. And when I left school, I did the gallery, which I did a touch on picture framing. And, you know, it's just that, you know, avalanche effect, you know. One thing leads to another, that sort of thing, and each bit of it helps. Then I went to the beach, selling art there, and, you know, it helped. Every little bit of it, I mean, it helps. I mean, I got to meet a lot of the guests. I've got to, you know, be able to, I guess, talk to them a lot, get to know people more, get to, you know, be a little easier around the edges, I guess. So
I think what I would like to get out of tonight, I mean, I said a bit of it at the beginning of the show, but also I wanted people to understand that if you have something within yourself, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be, you know, you're a photographer, whatever it is. If you're good at something, find a way. Find a way to get it out there, and think about who it is you're going to approach to help you to get it out there. Because if you have this passion, or if you really want to do something, if you get to the right person, they will recognize that and they will help you. A lot of people just sit there and expect things to happen.
well, I kind of do, Delia. I'm sorry. I kind of do.
How can you? I mean, you have so much talent.
I know. But so far, like I say, everything happens, like, it's so right. I mean, how did I come across you, Delia? Think about it.
There was a reason.
I'm telling you, and I meet a lot of people that way. I'm not really going out saying, hey, I'm some artist, can you help? I mean, I make sure I sit down in the dark, I paint my work, you know, I do as best as I can. And in the end, when somebody comes out and sees it, you know, they make their own assumptions, and a lot of time they'll be like, God's gift, and, you know, how can I help? Or, you know, I mean, I got a guest down when I was selling on the beach to help with a laptop and a camera so that I could help along my business. I didn't go asking, you know, hey, I need help.
But you see, you had a talent and you were actually on the beach doing something about it. There are different ways of doing things. And I've always said, and I've said it on the show before, that one of the best writers I've ever come across, and that was in London, was someone who they used to call a mouse. She used to just sit in a corner in the newsroom, as quiet as a mouse. And she didn't want to meet anybody because she was very shy. So all the big stars that were coming, everyone wanted to go and meet the stars. I remember Aaliyah, I think maybe you're too young for that. I don't know if you remember someone, Aaliyah, connected with R. Kelly and so on. Aaliyah was actually there where we were working, and Aaliyah was in the reception. And she was so shy, she couldn't go to Aaliyah. She was on the phone. Aaliyah was in the reception, and she was on the phone interviewing Aaliyah. And yet, when she came out and she wrote that piece, you would have thought Aaliyah was right next to her. She was brilliant. So we are all different, you know, and the way that sometimes we are lucky and people find us, but sometimes we have to.
That's true.
I think one of the challenges that we have, especially being in the third world, in the lesser developed part of the world, is that there isn't an appreciation of the arts as there is in the first world.
Don't even start there, because that's a new segment. We cannot we cannot skirt that. We're going to start talking about that a little later. Now, if you haven't joined us on Facebook or BBM, please do so now. Support us as the show grows on DBS and in the Caribbean and the US on Carivision. So we'll be right back talking about, is it a photo? Is it a painting? We'll be right back.